We've got severe weather tonight from the mid-Atlantic to the Northeast, Virginia to New England. Severe thunderstorm watches are up after another brutally hot and humid day. But relief is on the way. So let's get right to our live coverage of tonight's severe weather right here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. The revolutionary Tempest weather system is yours for the asking, and get one and you join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the descriptor to this podcast. Use that coupon code Joe Rayo.
Summer 2024.
If you do, you will get
10 big percent off.
all right. So radars are busy, busy, busy. We've got two severe thunderstorm watches, and when you put them together, it's from southern Virginia all the way up into central New England. And the radars look very, very busy tonight.
Yes, indeed. Busy, busy, busy.
Yes, you had some stuff formed out ahead of the main area, and you got into some of that this afternoon.
Yes, we did. And looks like from the upcoming radar. Now, I have to first off tell you, Joe, I still am not using the satellite radar that I normally use because they are still suffering from technical difficulty. So what I'm going to be doing is using the site from Upton and jumping around, so to speak. So
A wise decision on your part.
yes. So I hope you can see what I have on the screen now.
Yes,
This
we do see it beautifully.
this is from the Upton radar, which is located out in East Central Long Island. You can see that if you are in East Central Long Island, you are going through a rather significant dose of rather heavy weather, some showery and thundery weather crossing through the mid part of the island of Long. And then there's a big gap over a large part of New York City, Western Long Island, the lower Hudson Valley. However, it's only temporary because we see another area of showers and storms approaching from western New Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, and from right around the Sullivan County area of New York. In fact, if I change the aspect here, we'll go to this is for the Philadelphia area, and you can
Before
see.
you, just before you start that, I just want to just checking to see any new severe thunderstorm warnings up, and there are a bunch in Virginia and North Carolina, and even one in Georgia, but I'm not seeing anything. There's just one that expires in 21 minutes for Hunterdon, Warren, Berks, Bucks, Chester, Lehigh, Montgomery, and Northampton counties in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. And that seems to be the only active one we have for the moment.
And you can see that outlined here in the yellow. If you look carefully enough, right here is where that warning happens to be in effect, and you can see how significant that line happens to be. That contains some very heavy weather in the form of thunderstorms with potential damaging winds, maybe some small hail, and possibly in one or two places, an isolated tornado could even spin up. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. That's moving in from eastern Pennsylvania and heading for western and west central New Jersey, probably be there in the next 60 to 90 minutes. Now, that line extends all the way down through eastern Pennsylvania. Then it kind of breaks a little bit here and then continues into areas of eastern Maryland and into the Washington and Baltimore area, where it looks like they're getting hit fairly hard. In fact, I can see that they're underneath some kind of a thunderstorm warning down there.
I'm just checking to see if there's a new severe thunderstorm warning. These are the ones that are up. I'm just checking real quick. There is one that expires in 5 minutes, and that is a severe thunderstorm warning for Arundel, Calvert, and Arundel, which is a name, Calvert and Prince George's County in Maryland.
I think you're talking about Anne Arundel County.
Anne Arundel, is that? Yeah, it's Anne Arundel, two words.
Yes.
It threw me off. Just also checking in Virginia. So in Virginia, we have warnings right now for Charlotte, Halifax, Brunswick, Lunenburg and Mecklenburg counties.
Okay, well, I changed to the high resolution radar map, which when you change to that, it shows not only the area of well, it shows you thunderstorm warnings, and right up here you can see. Let me zoom in. This is nice. Zooming in here into the eastern or northeastern part of Pennsylvania, there are now warnings that are actually overlapping each other over the span of time. So you can see that up here. And if we move back a little ways, you can see a better idea or get a better idea of that line, which begins up here actually up near, let's see, up near Poughkeepsie, and then continues on a southwest direction through Allentown, through Reading, and then down into the Baltimore and Washington area, as I said. And then it continues still even beyond south of Washington into eastern Virginia, all the way to Richmond, Virginia, where they have yet another area, Joe, of thunderstorm warnings over portions of east central Virginia. That is off to the south of Richmond and southeast of Lynchburg. Wow, this area encompasses quite a bit, all the way from again up near the Poughkeepsie area of New York, all the way down into the North Carolina Virginia border. And if you want to get a better idea, let me just zoom out a little bit here, and you can see just how extensive that line is. And as you can also see, this is the only area or only region apparently that has any real action. Now, let me just check Boston. Boston has some kind of a warning. This must be some kind of a flood warning or flood advisory.
No, they actually have two severe thunderstorm warnings have gone are up. Uh, well, we've got a new one, by the way, for where you just were in Mecklenburg, Virginia. Severe thunderstorm warning located near Williesburg to near Buffalo Springs, the 6 miles southwest of Virgilia, moving south. Why would you name a town like that in the state that's almost the same thing? Moving southeast at 30 miles an hour, and the Massachusetts one, Essex, Middlesex, Suffolk, and are you ready? Are you ready for it, Joe?
Yeah.
Worcester, Worcester. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in that area, and that includes the Boston area.
Yeah,
Those
but the
two.
radar is not showing anything.
I know, but my radar is. My weather service radar is.
Well, that doesn't make any sense because this is the high resolution.
Well, something's not right because I'm missing, it seems like I'm missing some of these here. Here's a new warning for Rockingham, New Hampshire, Joe. A severe thunderstorm located along a line extending from Litchfield to near Pelham, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour.
Now, it's not showing up on the high resolution radar, the one that's supposed to be better, bigger, and better. But on the regular radar, the view here in Boston, it's plainly evident that there is a area of very heavy activity, possible severe thunderstorms just to the west and north of the Boston area, moving again toward the east to east northeast. So that's the area that is the reason why we have that severe thunderstorm warning. In effect, you can see it outlined
Ah,
here.
okay. So now I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just pulled up the non-high res radar and the severe thunderstorm warnings, the two warning boxes. They must have just discontinued them in the last minute or
Right,
so. So maybe
right.
that's why you're not showing them and I'm still showing it on the wider view.
You can see how they disappear on this radar. The two warnings, they're there and then they're gone at the end of the loop. So yeah, so they must have just expired. I don't know why, because as you can see on the radar, plain as day, the thunderstorms are still looking quite robust, quite potent, but still, if you live in the northeast corner of Massachusetts or in extreme southern and eastern sections of New Hampshire, let's say around the Portsmouth area, although Portsmouth seems to be just to the north of that, south of Manchester. Anyway, if you live in this area of New England, you're going to be hit with some heavy weather probably within the next 30 to 60 minutes. So that apparently, Joe, from what I was able to see, we've just about covered the entire area of activity, stretching all the way up from New England through the lower Hudson Valley down into eastern Pennsylvania and all the way down into east central Virginia and the North Carolina border. That line, which again is associated or affiliated with the cold front that hopefully, fingers crossed, will knock the heat down somewhat and also take care of all of this humidity, the high dew points that we've been dealing with for the past, well, I've lost count now how many days we've had to deal with it, but hopefully we'll see an end to this for a little while in the coming next 24 to 48 hours.
Uh, Also, want to just mention too, we have a flash flood warning for southwestern Sussex County in northwest New Jersey, northern Warren County in northwest New Jersey, northeastern Lehigh County in eastern Pennsylvania, northern Northampton County in eastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Carbon County in northeastern Pennsylvania, and southern Monroe County in northeastern Pennsylvania. So apparently, it's raining pretty hard in northeastern Pennsylvania and into northwest New Guernsey. And I'm going to go to the wide radar view here. By the way, welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight, and welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background, as many of you do on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And that would be sad if you missed us. Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. We're off Fridays and Saturdays unless there's a storm around. But then we just come back on Sunday. And if you like the show, please hit the like button. So here's what it looks like on the wide radar view, and see how busy it is up in New England, down through uh, the New York City metro area, eastern Pennsylvania. Just looks like some storms getting ready to approach Philadelphia. The areas that Joe showed you in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, and then also in south central Virginia. Those are moving to the east. And the radars are also kind of busy in parts of South Carolina and Georgia. We have clusters of thunderstorms, although most of those are south of I-85 in both instances, and some heavier storms in southeast Georgia. There's also some downpours going on in eastern Tennessee and right near the North Carolina state line. Looking at just a couple of clusters in Florida, dying one in North Florida near Daytona, another one in Southwest Florida that looks a little busier, and that's around the Naples, Fort Myers area. We've got some downpours and some thunderstorms that have already peaked in intensity in southeast Louisiana and in southern Alabama. Some activity in southwest Arkansas, northwestern Louisiana, into northeast and central Texas. And we're also busy in the Rockies. We've got showers and storms east of I-25 in Colorado and also in New Mexico. Looks like it's a little busier in New Mexico, back through northern Arizona into Utah, southern Idaho, northern Wyoming, and into parts of Montana, and even a couple of showers and a thunderstorm possibility here in northeastern Oregon and in western Washington state. And here's what
And
it looks like, by the way, on the radar. A lot of lightning strikes tonight on the radar, Joe. They'll come up on the screen momentarily. I mean, there's just lightning strikes everywhere, but down the East Coast. Look at that. It's really busy.
like my Christmas tree.
It does look like a Christmas tree indeed. We and it's July, and that infernal channel that runs Christmas movies all through during the month, 24 hours a day. Uh, and you also see the activity, excuse me, that is going on in the West. As far as nationwide watches and warnings, we still have residual excessive heat warnings and heat advisories, et cetera, plus the severe thunderstorm watch, which we mentioned to you. We've got some heat advisories still left over in Northeast Texas, Southern Arkansas, Northern Louisiana, into Mississippi and Southwest Alabama. Flood watches and a few counties. You see little red dots there. Those are flash flood warnings that are up for, if I can count this right, looks like 4 counties in New Mexico. Excessive heat watch for Southern California and Western Arizona and Southern Nevada. And also, we got the red flags flying in parts of Southwest Idaho and into Washington State with the very dry conditions there. Storm Prediction Center is, of course, today. It's just they've had a slight risk and I think it's played up according to plan. Marginal risk up almost, but not quite to northern Maine. The marginal risk on the south side, cutting across North Carolina to the Georgia border and back through central Tennessee, and then kind of meanders its way across eastern Kentucky and southern Ohio into parts of western New York. And then you've got this second area that covers those storms that run from Arkansas and northern Louisiana westward across Texas in a narrow band, and then northward up through the western plains with a slight risk area there in northeastern Colorado. That's for today. Severe weather next couple of days, confined to southeast Virginia and North Carolina because the front's going to stall somewhere down there. And they do have the general thunderstorm line just north and west of New York City and north and west of Boston, and cutting across Maine. Uh, I think that's probably more for the early part of the day than the latter part of the day because you can make a case that there might be some lingering stuff from overnight into tomorrow morning, maybe just lingering along the coast before it pushes offshore. And then you've got marginal risk in the Western Plains. And then on day three, which is for Friday into Saturday, it's mostly in the Western Plains, southwestern South Dakota, western Nebraska, and a sliver of eastern Montana and northeastern Colorado. Rainfall, well, I think this is half to three quarters of an inch from whatever we're going to get tonight in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, and as always in this convective mess, you can always wind up with double those amounts. And then you can see the big rain amounts of several inches or more. Some places patched up with five inches or more in eastern North Carolina, also in northeast Georgia, into western North Carolina. These are 7-day rainfall amounts, and also several inches or more across much of the Gulf states, all the way back into Texas and back up into New Mexico. A little area of three quarters of an inch to an inch and a half in the Central Plains, and everybody else not looking like a whole heck of a lot of rain in the next 7 days. So I didn't see any indication of any extreme heat coming back anytime soon from what I saw today.
Yeah, the temperatures are probably going to be at or maybe a little above the normal for this time of the year over the next week or so, a week or 10 days. And I agree with you. I don't see the extreme heat locally. In fact, if anything, the extreme heat is going to be confined chiefly to areas west of the Mississippi, over the plain states, northern plain states, and out across the Rockies. That's where the excessive heat, and even there, the risk for the coming days ahead looks to be only slight. I mean, there's nothing that uh, jumps out at you and says, "Yes, we're going to see extreme heat, high temperatures, hazardous conditions in the coming day." No, it's if there is any area of where it's going to be a little bit where the temperature is going to be a little bit out of control, it more likely is going to be over again the northern plains, places like Minnesota, the Dakotas, Montana, or across parts of the Rockies down the Continental Divide, Idaho and Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, those areas. But again, nothing completely out of control. Like we've been hearing about, Joe, in places like Las Vegas, 115, 120-degree temperatures, whatever. It'll be hot. It always is hot in the summertime out there, but absolutely nothing to compare with what they have been through. So if you are a heat fan, if you want hot weather as we move through the second half of this month of July, the place to go is go west, young man or young lady.
I am noticing, by the way, that the doo-doo points, they really need to call them the doo-doo points because it does feel like doo-doo when it's outside. Um, it looks like the real push of dew point tomorrow, the drop, is probably going to be in the late morning and afternoon from north to south because tomorrow morning, the 70-degree dew point line is still from Boston to just north and west of New York City to the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. And it's after 1 or 2 o'clock that you finally start to get the dew points to really drop off into the 50s during the afternoon. And I think that has to do with the fact that the front is slowing down as it moves offshore and getting hung up. But Friday to me, probably of the next 3 days, Friday looks like the day where, for most of the area, especially from New York City northward, where dew points will definitely be in the 50s and maybe even in the lower 50s, uh, should be the best of the next 3 days.
Friday looks like if I were still on television, I would probably declare Friday the pick of the week.
The pick of the week, yes, was and the pick
And
of the week is brought to you by.
we never did get on News 12. We never did get that far for pick of the week. To
Well, the pick, I could suggest a few things like the pick of the week is brought to you by Vicks Vapor Rub. How's that?
right, if you've been having problems with, if you feel that, well, that's more apropos, Joe, for a traffic report.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'm just looking at this. It's
If you want to get away from all that congestion, get Vicks Vapor Rub.
right. The dew points come up a little bit over the weekend, but they don't go crazy. They just come back into the low 60s. And I think as you've been touting the last number of days, and it makes total sense, given the fact that the dew points have been so horrific. Uh, Dew points in the low to mid 60s normally we would be talking about it being muggy and somewhat uncomfortable. But in comparison to dew points in the mid 70s, it'll feel okay. And there's actually a little dry patches, a little upper trough, I guess, that comes through maybe Saturday night that temporarily lowers the dew points Sunday morning into the afternoon across Pennsylvania and upstate New York. The GFS has been kind of trying to show this for the last several days. And then next week, they start to come back up. They don't go crazy, but they do get back to the mid and upper 60s. And I think that has more to do with the fact that if we look at the surface map, we it does look as if the pattern for next week may turn out to be wetter than it has been for a while, starting maybe later on late Monday and then on and off through much of next week. It looks like there'll be chances for showers and storms. Weak systems going by, nothing, nothing extraordinary, but a wetter pattern, it seems, for next week.
In other words, next week we'll be providing people with the wetter report.
Yes, exactly. And it won't be, it's not that it's going to be raining all the time. Clearly it's not, but I think it does offer opportunities for showers and storms and some downpours running around from time to time and from place to place, starting Monday night and uh, lasting on and off probably into Friday. So when it's not raining, it's just going to be very warm, not crazy hot, and and somewhat humid, but not crazy humid, which I think most people will accept. But they don't have much choice. They have to accept it.
Well, that's I was just going to say. I mean, if we beggars can't be choosers, and we certainly have been begging for some nicer weather. I'll be reminded of this sometime about 2 or 3 weeks from now when I get my electric bill, because I think the air conditioning has been running almost nonstop now for about the last week or 10 days.
I have seen a lot of posts from people that I know or know of in the great state of Connecticut. They all seem to have gotten their electric bills. Let me put it this way: they are not happy, and some of them have gone into the land of four digits as opposed to three.
You got to be kidding me!
No, I'm serious.
Holy mackerel!
People are getting these really, seven, eight, 900, even over $1,000 for their bills. The only thing is, I don't know how it works in Connecticut. Apparently, people have a choice of electric companies in Connecticut. So, they switch back and forth depending on who's got cheaper rates. So I don't know how that works. Um, but a lot of people are just not happy.
I can understand if they've gotten electric bills in 4 digits. That's
By the way, I haven't checked my electric bill this month. Um,
here he goes now, folks.
hold on. I have to rub it in.
Yes, I know you have to, don't you?
Um, let me just take a let me just take a look. First of all, before I do that, let me make sure. Let me put us back full screen. Let me get the let me get the bill up and see what it is. Um, okay, just give me a moment here. Uh, no, I don't want that one. Try it this way. This is what happens. Uh, okay. Um, okay. Online member dashboard. Uh, I got it in the mail the other day, but I didn't really look at it because I'm on auto pay. So, all right. So my electric bill, which by the way, you're going to get mad at me at this. My electric bill, because the electric company is also my internet provider. So this includes my internet bill, which is $60 a month. So I'm guessing here because it says my amount due is 162.52. So my electric bill for it was $102.
$102.
$102. Yes.
Now, this folks from somebody who lives in the supposed deep south where it's always hot, sticky, and humid.
Well,
And
the thing is, down here, uh, it's in the wintertime when it's really cold that you can run up a big bill. But I have this because a lot of folks have electric, if they have straight electric heat, then they're going to get big bills. I have a dual heating system that kicks into propane once the temperature goes down under 40. So um, my electric bills in the wintertime are really, they're pretty much in the 70 to $80 range per month.
pretty good. Pretty good. My regards, by the way, to Sam Drucker for your
Well,
for your.
Joe, it's it doesn't pay a lot to have hamsters running around a wheel to generate the electricity,
I understand.
so it kind of works that way.
Can you make
Um,
when you make a phone call? Do you climb up the pole?
oh, I forgot about that. I forgot. By the way, I had a bear last night that now bears don't like corn, okay? They'll only eat it if they have to. Well, this bear ate all the corn I have out for the deer, and then on the other side of the yard he threw it up. So I woke up to all this yellow vomit in my garden. And then sometime around 5 o'clock this afternoon, a deer went into one of my flower beds. I'm so mad because I got one of these wheelbarrows that I bought at Tractor Supply, which is like a planter, and I planted some New Guinea impatiens in there, and they were gorgeous. I mean, they doubled in size. The flowers are the size of, you know, they're bigger than the flowers are huge, and it was just gorgeous. And the deer knocked down the wheelbarrow and ate half the plant away. So I'm not happy. You know, there's a whole thing of deer food there. They got corn. It's out there. Eat the corn. That's why I put it there. So this way they don't go into the darn garden.
Well, have you run into any bears lately, or
I haven't personally run into any, but I did have evidence of one that came through last night. So um, that was but I actually this season I haven't seen any bear. This is the first time the last 3 years I've seen bear, from time to time, but this year I haven't seen it. My neighbors have seen it, um, seen bears, but I haven't. By the way, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Cecil and Harford counties in Maryland, and that's a severe thunderstorm warning, and another severe thunderstorm warning for Caroline, Kent, and Queen Anne's counties.
okay?
And it's Queen Anne apostrophe S possessive. So I'm gathering that Queen Anne owned that county at one point of her life or another.
I'm not really sure. I'm just thankful it's not. I don't get confused between counties and parishes like down in Louisiana.
Oh, when you get to Louisiana, yeah. All right, let's do a little Briller Jeopardy since the tropics are quiet. Um,
Are we still
what?
doing mustaches?
No, what are we doing today? We are doing the. Okay, so you need to name. And do not Google this, folks. You did so well last night with the bearded uh, presidents. So don't Google this, okay? But uh, the first 10 presidents of the United States in chronological order, okay? So we all know who number one is, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Um, and I'm sure so we know it's George Washington. So who was number two?
Is he on the $2 bill?
Number two?
Yes.
Um, oh, I don't know who's on the $2. No, I don't think he's on the $2 bill.
Thomas Jefferson is on the $2 bill.
Yes, but he's not. He's not the
He's not number
second
two.
president.
Right.
Right? Who's the second president? Well, thank Kimball knows. Uh, it's uh, it's John Adams.
Right.
John Adams.
Jefferson.
So
They
Jeff
should.
Jeff right. Jefferson was number three.
Why isn't Jefferson on the $3 bill?
Don't you're asking questions that are way above my pay grade.
Ah,
Number four, not Don Adams, Tom Contino. Number four, number four. So we've got Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, and next is Christina Pedia, Madison. Yes, James Madison, Patrick Darcy, correct. So now we've got Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, Madison. So who was next after James James Madison?
Tom
Uh,
Contino asked John Adams.
and not Oscar Nadam. No, he said Don. I know. I just said that. And Rich Rothmansky says Oscar Madison. No, it's James Madison. James Madison. So we're Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and then who's after Madison, folks? Who's after James Madison?
It's not Dolly.
No, she was too busy making ice cream.
Yeah.
Do they still have Dolly Madison ice cream in the Northeast?
I don't think so.
Okay.
A lot of
Who's
ice creams we grew up with, Joe, that don't exist anymore. At my house when I was a young boy, we always had Light and Lively. Remember that Light and Lively ice cream?
not Light and Lively? Yes. Rich Rothmansky getting the next one, which is James Monroe.
Right.
James Monroe.
There's a high school in the
And
Bronx.
James,
There's a high
what?
school in the Bronx, James Monroe High School.
Yes. And James Monroe was followed by,
Joe Biden.
no, although he might have voted for this man. Um, who followed James Monroe? Yes, Dennis Cassia Adams, but which Adams? Gomez Adams? No, it was John Quincy Adams, Frank R. Very good. And who follows John Quincy Adams? Who follows John Quincy Adams? JQ. That's a good way to do it. Who follows John Quincy Adams?
Was John Quincy Adams? No, no, I'm mistaken. William Henry Harrison was the one who only lasted a month, I think, right?
Right, correct. And we do have Frank R. and Maggie P. getting the next one, which is Andrew Jackson, he was the seventh president. And Andrew Jackson was followed by, let's see how smart you folks really are. Andrew Jackson was followed by, no, no, not Cleveland, not Garfield. They're way down the line. I'll be impressed if somebody gets this. Nope, not Polk. Yes, Rich Rothmansky. It was Martin Van Buren. Dennis Cassia, Martin Van Buren. Frank R., Martin Van Buren. And after Martin Van Buren, we have We have
The reason why I'm silent on all this is that I have vague recollections of who the presidents were.
all right. Craig Carlberg gets number nine, which is after Van Buren was Harrison. Okay, Harrison.
It's encroaching. Bruno Sammartino.
Tino, exactly. So there's one left, and that's the one that follows Harrison, and Mark G saves us from agony and gets it with Tyler. So Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, and Tyler. Those are the.
Can I ask? So, since Vincent Croce brought up Bruno Sammartino, I'm going to have to ask Dennis Cassia if he's still on. Dennis, would you allow me to show the picture that was on our Facebook memories of when you were a science teacher and who one of the parents happened to be? I could call that up and put that on the screen. Let me know. This is the, this is a very interesting photograph. If you ever wanted to see a photograph,
I did see it on Facebook. Yeah, he said sure. Go ahead, put it up.
okay, great, great. Hang on, give me a chance to talk for a little bit, Joe. I
Um. Oh, I don't know. Now that you've told me to talk, I'm trying to remember. I went to in New Hampshire. Um, I'm trying to remember which president was buried in New Hampshire because I actually went to where he was buried and to his house, which is right near where he's buried, and I can't remember who it is. Uh, let me just presidents from New Hampshire. Franklin Pierce, that's who it was. Um, Franklin Pierce. And he was the 14th president of the United States from 1853 to 1857. So, Miss Blue Ocean, there's your one-term president. He failed to deal effectively with the corroding sectional controversy over slavery in the decade preceding the American Civil War. So that's Franklin Pierce. Did you find it?
no, I didn't. And in fact, it's funny. I went back on my memories page,
Hmm.
and there are things I'm not seeing for the first time. I'm seeing stuff that's on there, but the one picture that I wanted to show,
I
huh?
got it. I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Um, I just went to Dennis's Facebook page.
Oh, it's on his Facebook page. I thought I saw it on.
Well, if it's his picture and his memory, but there's Bruno San Martino.
Oh, it's not,
If just in case you don't know, Dennis is on the right. Okay.
not Bruno Sammartino.
Well, who's this?
That's that's that's. Well, let's see if anybody out
Oh,
there can.
I see. Yeah, you're right. That's not. That's another wrestler. I
That's
didn't
it.
think that was Bruno San Martino.
Oh, Bruno would be more svelte. This is
Yes.
that's Captain Lou Albano.
Yes.
This was
That's Cap.
1957, and apparently Captain Lou's daughter was in Dennis's science class, and Dennis Dennis met up with Captain Lou on Parent Teachers Day, and there you see that picture. And actually, I said, you just mentioned the word intimidated. And actually, Dennis says he was a really nice guy. I would presume that the Captain Lou bit with the crazy was really just an act when he was on TV and doing his wrestling thing. But he
Oh, of
said,
course it was.
huh?
Of course it was an act.
It was an act, yeah. But
Uh,
but there you go.
okay. I'm just.
The plaid suit is back in style.
Everything, Joe, everything eventually comes back in style if you wait long enough. We have not even gone out of style, you and I. We've been in style for 40 some odd years and we're still at it.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right.
But we are
And
we are on tomorrow night.
we are on tomorrow night. Yes. There's no pressing reason for us to take off tomorrow night, so we'll be on tomorrow night. just in case Reuben Fairchild shows up. He might get a shock. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. The revolutionary Tempest weather system is yours. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the description to this podcast. The coupon code is,
Summer 2024,
and if you use it, you will get
10% off. And RJM 2023 asking, wasn't he a tag team champion, the Sicilians? And that is absolutely true. In the early 60s, Captain Lou Albano was teamed with another wrestler by the name of Tony Altamore, and they were the tag team champions known as the Sicilians.
yes. And Tom Contina, would you rather us take 4-day weekends in the winter months or take them in the summer months when a lot of times there might not be much of anything going on for a day or two or three? So I think it's better we take them now in the summer months.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow. Night, night.
Nighty night, folks.